Subscribers come to me asking how they can improve their business, how they can gain more influence in their executive role, or how otherwise they can gain more control of their life. And they're very often disappointed with my response. I'm Justin Hitt with Inside Strategic Relations. Folks are often disappointed with my response because they ask for the one thing that they can do to gain better influence, to gain better power in a marketplace, to dominate their field. And they're asking this because they feel helpless, useless, unable to achieve the goals they want. They feel like the world around them is against them. And it might be, but it isn't one thing. It's a series of things that you have to implement every day. And in implementing those things, you'll get the results that you're looking for. See, success comes through a series of behaviors, not through any gimmick or any magic pill or anything like that. If that were the case, then there would just be a magic pill. And in fact, there isn't just one method. What I do with clients is I'll assess their situation. I'll discuss with them their goals and objectives. I'll clarify what it is that they want to accomplish, and then we'll develop a plan. You can't just look at somebody and say, this is what you do. Now, there are gurus in the marketplace who present the one thing, and because that's appealing to people, and because there is this mythical fantasy that somebody can wave a magic wand over you and you'll just get the results that you're looking for. Results come to those who have clarity about what they want to achieve and who have meditated on or thought about the difference in their life when it comes to that achievement. So I'm going to give you a very practical example, and it has to do with lawn care. Okay. Most people, when they buy a home, they're influenced by the quality of the lawn. And so they want that lawn to look a certain way. They want the aesthetics of the house to look a certain way. And that is their first appeal for the home. Now, a real estate investor, they don't care about that. In fact, some real estate investors look for homes where the neighbors' lawns are better than the lawn of the home they're buying, where the neighbors' homes are better than the home that they're buying. They're actually looking for distressed homes. Now, which one of these approaches is more profitable? Well, if you are working and your primary income is from a salary and you're going to move into a house that is already done for you, there's no extra work to be done, you don't have to hire anybody, well, that might work well for your time needs. However, if you want to buy value in a neighborhood, you're going to be there 3 to 5 years, which is the typical home ownership, and then you're going to move along. You may want to buy a home at a value lower than market value, and then the minor improvements that you do as you live in the home actually increases its market value. That's more towards the mentality of a real estate investor than a consumer. And so the person is the same, the mindset is different. Now, some of that mindset is going to require you to put in additional effort. How different is the effort from the day-to-day maintenance of the home? So you find a home that has a beautiful manicured lawn, beautiful landscaping, beautiful care and maintenance. The aesthetics of the home from the street, curb value, is incredible. But do you really know how much effort went into that? Because you might be receiving the house after a real estate investor fixed up an old dump and then applied the right services to the property. See, there's a lot more to the decisions we make in life than simply rolling a dice and picking an outcome. If you want results in your business, if you want greater influence in the marketplace, if you want to be seen as an authority, if you want to be positioned in a marketplace so that opportunities come to you, rather than having to chase the next opportunity, there are certain preparations that are necessary. And it starts with understanding the mechanics of the role that you have. So the lawn care regime, somebody can look at a nasty lawn with bare spots and they just know how to make that higher value. They know how to make the grass nice. Now, once you have the skill, the technical skill to do something, we have to make a determination on whether or not it is a high value activity to do. So you may know how to make the grass nice. You may know how to rake it out, how to seed it, how to top dress it, how to do all the things that are necessary, what fertilizers to use, what herbicides to use. and never once think whether or not it is a worthy endeavor. So success comes to those who focus on the worthy endeavors. Aesthetically pleasing lawn can be done very quickly by just hiring a professional and have them do it for you. But you have to ask, is that a high value of my time and effort? Well, society presses upon people the cosmetics of a thing. How does it look? Rather than the function of a thing. You may not be aware that the majority of water usage on the planet, the majority of fertilizer and chemical herbicide usage on the planet is actually for lawns, not for agricultural purposes. So we're applying massive amounts of money to something called a lawn that is appealing visually, but doesn't have a lot of high value function. Most people don't use their lawn. They look at it, but they don't actually use it. So when we want to get to the level of success and achievement, peak performance, we have to focus on the high value activity rather than the expected activity. So when Google came out with a search engine, they weren't the only people with search engines. They focused on the high value activity of marketing the search engine, making it easy to use, positioning it as a certain type of platform for their users, and that's what helped them gain market dominance. Then once they gained market dominance, they tied to their search engine an economic value to the websites contained in the search engine. Okay, not necessarily users, because Google search results is not the best results. But they kept layering out innovations like Google Analytics. They layered out Google Optimize. They layered all these tools for the publisher to use to get what? That number one ranking in Google. Now, while everybody's fighting for the number one ranking in Google, they're using the Google search engine to see whether or not they've got number one ranking, which artificially inflates the actual users of the search engine, because the publishers are using the search engine, the employers of the search engine, which created a de facto standard for other people to use Google to find things on the internet. Now, Google does have technological advances. They have the bots and all the other stuff that's going out there and indexing the internet. But can you see what they've done there? The public sees a search engine. They saw an opportunity to help businesses grow, and that led to Google AdWords. The majority of Google's advertising revenue is Google AdWords. It's people paying them for search positions. Google isn't the only place to get search for your website. They do have the maximum amount of traffic, but you could actually just buy a mailing list of your customers and target your customers directly and bypass search engines, bypass social media, bypass all these platforms by simply doing something that's been around since the 1800s. So do you see what we're saying here? If you want to be innovative, if you want to be successful, if you want to get results, you can't do what everybody else is doing, because they're doing that by default because they don't have the tools and mechanisms in place to judge a better solution. So let's talk about optimization. When you have clear and specific goals, you can optimize your behavior and the environment around you to make the probability of achieving those goals much higher. If you want to lose weight, then an exercise and diet program together is going to help you lose weight faster than either one by itself. But even changing your lifestyle and adjusting your mentality towards weight, your current weight, your image, can help you move forward. However, is it possible to believe something about your image that's actually harmful to your health? Is it possible to believe something about your health that's actually harmful to your weight? Is it possible to believe something about exercise that's actually harmful to your physical well-being? See, it is. It's possible to not have accurate thinking and to do things that you think help you, but actually put you behind. So when I work with clients, we do these assessments and then we break down what is it that you're doing each day, and does it align, does it have congruency with the outcomes that you desire? See, I am a consultant, an analyst, somebody who writes technical papers, somebody who does research for clients, somebody that helps solve problems by developing plans. It does me no good to go out and speak to people in groups and try to help them solve their problems while I'm standing in front of them speaking. All I can do is introduce the problem, introduce the possible false beliefs, mistakes being made, or help with an approach. And then I have to sit down individually with a person. If you think you can listen to a podcast, you can hire a speaker to talk to your group, or you can make foundational change with a one-time activity, then you're deluding yourself. It takes every day. It takes every action. It takes, by design, your approach and process in order to get the results that you're looking for. Now, this seems discouraging because it sounds like extra work. Well, here's the last point I want to leave you with. It is not extra work because we only have the same 24 hours in a day. If you spend every hour of the day, 24 hours working, it doesn't give you 25 hours. See, the productivity has nothing to do with the hours worked. You can get as much productivity done in an 8-hour period as you can in a 16-hour period. In fact, I'd argue that your productivity will go down the longer you work past a certain point, because there's a balance that's necessary in order for you to maintain your physical and your mental focus. So we've got to find that point of optimization through accurate thinking, through clarity of goals and objectives, and through the plan that we use. Many of my clients have a plan that they use that contains a lot of waste, a lot of distraction, and a lot of frustration. If we remove the waste and we stop doing something, very often because it is a habit or a behavior, our body actually resists. So if you were used to eating a lot of sugar, if you're used to having a certain type of lawn, if you're used to living in a certain type of neighborhood, and now you've moved someplace else, you're going to have a resistance that comes from the not being familiar with the environment. So we have to replace behaviors rather than eliminate behaviors. We have to replace unproductive activities with productive activities. For many of my clients, it is reducing their workday to 6 or 7 hours. Now, we're reducing the workday, but we're actually learning delegation skills. We're automating activities. We're better assessing our day-to-day productivity. And that is what's increasing the results that we obtain. When we have unproductive behaviors or behaviors that get in the way of peak performance, we honestly and sincerely work with each other, usually through a mastermind group or some kind of group coaching call. We will work with each other to hold accountable each of us to our stated goals and objectives. Now, you might state a goal that you want to make $1 million in the next 12 months and not sincerely hold yourself to it because it's like just you needed a goal, so you got one. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about sitting down and meditating on and drawing out plans and identifying a path that we want to achieve. What is that ideal life that we want to achieve? And then honestly and sincerely putting it into a plan. Now, we don't spend a lot of time on the meditation because if you're meditating all the time, you're not actually doing anything. We're writing something down on paper to capture it, and then we're assessing it. We're saying, I wrote the goal down of $1 million in 12 months. Is this reasonable? Do I have the resources? What gaps are there? We're doing gap analysis, SWOT analysis. We're doing analyst work. And that's where I come in to assist because a lot of folks don't know how to do that. But essentially what happens is we come up with a plan. I lean towards the business plan because the business plan allows you to get the results that you want through other people and very often even other people's money, because those are the two constraints. Time and cost are the two constraints that most people have. But there's another constraint that we also help get past, which is mental blocks. The mental blocks that keep you from looking at things slightly different. When everybody's thinking about beautiful lawns and they want to buy a house with a beautiful lawn and they're looking at the outside cosmetics, you're going to hire an inspector. You're going to narrow the scope of what you're looking for as far as a house is concerned using many criteria. Then you're going to hire an inspector to look at the insides of the house. You're going to get the house that is the worst house in the best neighborhood. You're going to put a little bit of work into it that's no more than what your regular maintenance would be. And then you're going to turn that house over for a profit. Or you're going to live in that house as it fits your needs, but then there's going to be a point where you're going to downsize and you've built up enough equity in the home that it's worth something. Now, that's just one example. The concept is that we're building something. We're producers rather than consumers. We're independent in the sense of our thinking and our approach. We're adopting best practices and behaviors from all over the world, and we're implementing, we're doing things, we're putting action in place, but we're doing it with balance, thoughtfulness, and focus so that we have the means, but we also have the ability to enjoy our successes and our achievements. I hope that you'd like what I'm sharing here today enough that you'll actually try it. I don't really care if you like my voice or you like, the message I share. I really do care that you actually use it, because when you look at the behaviors and habits that you have today and you start substituting negative behaviors with things that move you towards the outcomes you desire. And by the way, sometimes you'll even substitute positive behaviors with other behaviors that will move you towards the outcomes you desire. And if you sincerely want those outcomes, it's almost like magic. Things just start falling into place. Some of my clients will come to me and say, look, I don't know what's going on in this universe, but everything that I wrote on my plan is happening today. And I say, because that's a plan, not a wish list, not a dream 100 list. It is a plan, and you're implementing the plan. That's why you're getting results. And they are appreciative. They can bank on it. They can measure their results. And it is a performance booster where they're working less time and getting more from that time. I'm Justin Hitt from Inside Strategic Relations, where we transform business relationships into profits. Everything I've shared here today is done better as a team versus on your own. Yes, you can have personal goals, but if you have a family, you need to also have family goals. If you have a business, you need to have business goals. All these things need to be congruent with what you want, what you desire, and you're almost going to build an environment that is specifically serving your needs and interests. Now, that doesn't mean that it's negative to other people's needs and interests, but it does drive forward you as the captain of your ship. If you have questions about what I've covered today, or you need additional support, you can visit www.insidestrategicrelations.com. Go to the contact page. Again, I'm Justin Hitt with Inside Strategic Relations, where we help you transform business relationships into profits guaranteed.